we'll start the session. Today we are here to discuss what is the role of science and technology as a subject to succeed in groups examinations, right? Are we clear? So let me make the objective very clear. So I am Sahaja. I will be dealing with this subjects, science and technology, as well as environment and disaster management. Okay. So this is what we will deal with today. So in this today's class or this orientation session, we will not go in depth of what the subject is, or we will not see any topics as such. But overall, we will have a view of why is this subject important? How is this subject important for you to crack the exam? Yes. So TGPSC results were out very recently. So if you have gone through what is the exact factor that has changed the game for everyone, you will understand. So in today's class, we will see what is the syllabus. This is the agenda of the class. Then we'll see what are the references that you will have to look out, because the most frequently asked question for any subject is, ma'am, from where do we read the subject? What is the authentic source for the subject? Yes. So we will see what are the reference books that you can go through for completing the syllabus. Then we will understand what is the significance of the subject. Now, most importantly, for every subject, there is a different approach. How to study, it depends upon, again, the board of the examination as well. If you're reading science and technology for UPSC, if I am teaching for a UPSC batch, I will not see, I'll be not teaching the same things as I'm teaching for the TGPSC batch. Understood? So if I am teaching the subject, the science and technology subject this year, it won't be the same as the next year. So how do you approach? What are the differences? How, if you're planning to write the exam this year, if you're taking classes this year, and the exam notification comes, and by the end of the year, if you have exam, how to approach the subject? If the notification gets postponed and the mains exam is in the next year, then how should be your approach? So everything is dealt today. And topic, we will discuss one small story or a topic. We will, that again, you will see how I will discuss how to make you understand what is or how is your preparation going to be for the subject. Am I clear? Yes. So first we will see syllabus. Excuse me. So we have seen it is given in the preliminary examination. If you can see that for science and technology, there are two keywords, or just two mention of general science and India's achievements in science and technology. These are the only two things that are mentioned in preliminary syllabus. Now, what is general science? Online students, what is general science? General science usually is categorized into physics, biology, and chemistry by the students. But general science is not just that. General science is everything that you are looking out for in day-to-day life. And how are your science concepts related to what you're doing in your daily activities? That is general science. Understood? Now, if you're saying, for example, say you're you're soaking, early morning, you soak some almonds, right? So the almonds are swollen, or you're soaking some raisins, they're swollen. What is the concept behind it? Why are they swollen? It is osmosis. And we all know that due to osmosis of water, that the solvent is entering the membrane of the raisins and it is getting swollen. Yes, then we will see how it is. We are talking about osmosis as a, excuse me. Yes, we are talking about raisins here, right? Now, say in day-to-day life, they might ask you a question saying that you have soaked some raisins in water. By morning, you have seen that these raisins are swollen. What happened here? There might be few statements regarding this. One, the process here is osmosis. Two, In the process of osmosis, there will be a movement of solvent from higher concentration to lower concentration. And the options might be only statement A is true, B is true, both of them are true, neither A or B. Some questions, see, randomly, I mean, just framing a question randomly, this might be a question. Yes, we all know, because since our childhood we have been seeing that it is osmosis. But do you remember whether the solvent is moving from higher concentration to lower concentration, or lower concentration to higher concentration? Do we remember that? So this should be your understanding. So daily activities, in such activities, what are you doing? What is the science behind them? That is general science, not just physics, chemistry, and biology per se. Okay, it should have some application in your general life. Then I will also be dealing with environmental issues and disaster management. Again, in preliminary examination, it is mentioned as environmental issues, disaster management, prevention and mitigation strategies. Okay, this is what is given in preliminary syllabus. Now here we need to understand, first we will compare it with the main syllabus. One second. Okay. We do not have the picture of main syllabus, but I will explain you how is it different. Yes. So in main syllabus for SNT, you have two different sections. Yes. With 5 chapters each. If you have the syllabus with you, please open and see. So the first chapters, they deal with the science and technology part. How is it influencing the industry, the economy? What are the new technologies that are there, and how is it affecting industries, economy in your day-to-day life? That is your first chapter. Then what happens in your second chapter? It talks about nanotechnology. It talks about the science and technology and innovation policies that are there in India. It also talks about ICT policies, right? Then we have space technology, nuclear. Nuclear energy is not mentioned, but you have something called as energy security that is mentioned. Now, how is the word energy security relevant? How is it relevant? Can somebody tell me what is the meaning of energy security? If you see, if you go through the syllabus where they have given energy as a chapter, they have mentioned solar, wind, geothermal, tidal, etc. They have not mentioned nuclear. But we know for sure that whenever there is a nuclear technology or a missiles that are being released, there are questions in prelims and in mains on nuclear. Then when it is not mentioned in the syllabus, how is it there in the paper? So for that, we need to understand what is energy security. Now, what is energy security? Energy security is nothing but providing energy, that means electricity, to 100% of the population in the country. That means each and every citizen they should have the availability of electricity. That energy should be affordable. And there should be continuous supply of that energy. These are the characteristics of energy security. What are we trying to achieve through energy security? We are trying to achieve this. Yes, and we know in environment, if you have seen, if you are going through papers, if you have the habit of studying newspapers, you can see that that the solar energy is what we are trying to tap, as it is renewable and clean. Yes, we have International Solar Alliance, One Sun, One World, One Grid program. India is forerunner for ISA. Yes, we are trying to do this. We are trying to tap, as a tropical country. We have the availability of the solar energy 24/7. Most of the days, we can say. Then why is it not sufficient for us to gain energy security? It is not sufficient. Why, ma'am? Why is it not sufficient? Why can't we? Why is it unreliable? Because in monsoons, you cannot tap the energy in the country. During nights, in cold winters, again it becomes difficult. The storage itself is very, very expensive. If you have the habit of reading newspaper, if you have seen today's newspaper, there is a alternative for silicon that is mentioned for the solar panels. And why is it not affordable? Why is it not green? What are the technologies? That is given in the science paper. So every day reading newspaper becomes important, because every single thing is important. You never know what kind of technology you can write as an example for the question that is being asked in mains. Right? So this, and we know that climate change is causing many cyclones, floods, which are very untimely. We can see cloudbursts. Yes. That means we cannot rely on solar energy for energy security, because it is neither affordable nor we cannot have these two criteria is not sufficient. But if you are relying on some other thing like a wind energy or geothermal energy or tidal energy, look at the population of the country. Can we serve for 100% of the population? No. So now, what is the next thing that we have? Next option that we have for science. Use what comes to your brain. So what are the natural resources that are available for us in the country? That should be first seen. Now, where do you read about it? In geography? Sometimes in economy? Yes? Now, when we know that India has a few amounts or few places where you have uranium, but we have lots of resources for thorium. Yes? Is nuclear, that means we can produce nuclear energy. This is clean unless there is any disaster, and it is highly efficient, and it is affordable, and we can produce electricity for whole of the country. Yes, so it is satisfying every condition. But what is the problem? We do not have the technology that is required for nuclear energy. Why so, ma'am? That we will discuss in classes. Yes, what are fissile materials, what are fertile materials, how do we see them, and how is it affecting the geopolitics? Sometimes, let me tell you, science and technology will help you understand your international relations as well. How? During Russia-Ukraine war, have you observed that we have never made a statement that there is a war against Ukraine? We have always said there is war in Ukraine. That means we are not ready to make a statement against Russia, and for which the Western countries were very upset with our country. Even though we know that that the countries are upset and the geopolitical tensions are there, they are ready to impose sanctions on the country, still we did not take a stand. Why is it so? Because we need to understand that 12 nuclear reactors that are there in the country are from Russia. The enriched uranium that we use again is coming from Russia. Sometimes in Maharashtra, you can see that it also comes from France. These things we keep reading in newspaper. Yes, but the answer is somewhere in S&T. Why is the geopolitics behaving that way? I mean, the international relations or the countries are behaving in a particular way. The answer is in some other subject. So while you're writing your international relations answers, you can also use examples, or you can directly explain why this is important for that. Yes, so science and technology, you can see that it connects many other subjects. For example, environment and disaster management. Yes, how is it related to environment? For example, say we are talking about genetically modified crops. You will see in the newspaper that the GM mustard has to be given approval. Yes, then what is GM? What are the international environmental implications of having a genetically modified plant? Why are they restricted for trade, international trade? This is all seen in environment as a subject. But how can something be genetically modified? Why is it important? That is seen in science and technology. Understandable? Yes. Now, not just here. Now say we are talking about internal security. We talk about internal security. If you're talking about cyber security, again, how do you deal with cyber security? Again, has to come from science and technology. If again we are talking about ethics, ethical hacking, be it hacking, be it data privacy, be it AI. Is AI now? We have seen that recently in news there is something called as Ghibli art. What is Ghibli art? Now that is something related to art and culture, maybe. Yes, some kind of art in some parts of the studios of Japan. Yes, they are being converted into card. It is a cartoon kind of anime pictures that are made in Studio Ghibli. Now that kind of art you can make from your pictures. Now that is given to AI. Now there is an ethical dilemma saying, what if it is the lifetime of an artist to draw or to bring out a specific style of art? Yes, now this specific style of art cannot be an IP, intellectual property, or it cannot have a patent, and it cannot be copyrighted. Now what are we trying to do here? We are bringing in policies that are there in governance. Aren't they all interlinked? So you cannot ignore science and tech as a part, because it is linked with all the subjects that are there, and that is why it is there in syllabus, not because science and technology just to have a basic understanding or just to give an advantage to science students. It is nothing like that. As a policy maker, you should be having an understanding on how this science and technology is affecting the governance, the people, the economies, the international relations. your survival in particular, your environment, everything. Yes. So that is the importance of the subject. What I'm trying to establish here is that what is the importance of this subject as a total in the exam paper. Yes. Then we have understood what is there in the mains. Then the most frequently asked question, what is it? From where do we study this? Firstly, you will have to finish the NCERTs from class 6 to class 12. Excuse me. Online students, are there any doubts still here? You can ask. Otherwise, we'll move to references. Yes? Okay, we will move on and see why NCERTs. In a few seconds, we will see that why NCERTs from class 6 are important. We will see some PYQs where you will understand why I've put NCERTs. And NCERTs are basic understanding of any subject. And why from class 6 to 12, ma'am? Because there are a few topics in class 12 which will help you understand the nuclear physics. How what are we trying to do in space technology, in nuclear technology, in defense technology? For you to understand that level, we need to have the basics of class 12 also. Yes, to understand why biotechnology. If you see in mains, we have three chapters of the second section in TGPSC is related to biotechnology, the food technology, the agricultural technology. How technology is used in remote sensing for disaster management, how to mitigate earthquakes and cyclones using technology. All this technology is mentioned there. Yes. Now, for that, to understand those basics, for the genetics, for the biotechnology, you need to understand first what is a cell, the biology of a cell, what is a DNA, right? What is the genetic material? Then only you will be able to understand. See how everything is linked. We are saying we are talking about gene, or we are talking about, say, DNA in a nucleus, in cell biology, in biology. This is, according to us, is general science. Now, this DNA, when we are talking about it, we are talking about genetics. Now, if there is some misinformation or some error in formation of the DNA, we call them genetic disorders. What are the genetic disorders? Can you name a few genetic disorders? Examples like sickle cell anemia. And we have been seeing this in news for past 1 year because India wants to eliminate sickle cell anemia and we are running programs, running schemes, we are investing money on it. Yes, so this is very important for us. Yes, then after genetic disorders, if you have some disease, we also know that there are many other diseases that are there in health. So public health is a chapter that comes in economy because we have many schemes and policies there running, like the Ayushman Bharat, like the Indradhanush, the universal immunization program. So now you have health issues. What is your immunity doing? So what about your immune system? That becomes important. If your immune system is not working properly, then what do we need? We need vaccines. So vaccines are important, especially in the time where we have gone through a pandemic. Do we understand how everything? We think that it is a simple chapter in biology. By just understanding the concepts of class 12 biology, you might be solving a question that is there on vaccines. Recently, we have a Nobel Prize for developing an mRNA vaccine in 2023. So, if you have seen this in news, if you're talking that there is an mRNA vaccine, that means there are different other types of vaccines. What are they? We need to know them. How are they different? In what types of diseases, which types of vaccines are used? All of this becomes important for our examination. And ma'am, you're telling that everything is important. Whatever you speak, you're saying it is important. Whatever we see in news is important. How do you know that they are important? We are saying that everything, and one more important thing, I said we will have to read for till class 12. I said everything is important. We will come there. Before that, we'll finish the references. Second, daily newspaper. Ma'am, is it really important for us to read daily newspaper? Can I not buy a monthly current affairs magazine and just read through it? What happens here is, if you are reading from a monthly current affairs magazine, you will not be able to understand the basics. You will only be able to scram things, like you have to ratify things. Only that you will be able to do. Yes, without even understanding, you'll try to mug up things which will not retain for longer time. But when you're reading a newspaper, most of the times, though that news that comes in the newspaper or that news that comes in the examination is something that is prominently there for a longer period of time in news. Yes. So whenever it is there for 15 days, 20 days, if you're reading it every single day, you will know the basics of it. And you have read it for 15 long days, so you understand the nuances of it. And you will retain it whenever you see the question. If not one or two, if you do not know all four statements, at least one or two you can eliminate, which will bring that edge to you. Okay, you cannot retain mostly everything. So but when you're reading it on a daily basis, it becomes easy for you. Whenever, even if you're revising at the end, even if you're looking at the words, you will be able to recollect when you have read it for a longer period of time. Yes. And for both the subjects, environment as well as science and technology, it is very, very important that read daily newspaper. Then for science and technology, we have Telugu Academy textbook. You can go through this. Do not go for the information or the statistics in the textbook, but you can go through for the concepts that are there. Yes. For the concepts, you can see the Telugu Academy material. We also have a CivicCentre material which has covered most of the topics, which has the data and stats that are recent, which is released last year. Now, whenever there is a recent development, say Gaganyaan is yet to happen. Yes. So if you're following news and there, by the time you write the exam, we have the Gaganyaan and it is successful, from where do you read? Do not go for newspapers. Not newspapers. Do not go for materials or some things in the market, because the numbers that are given in the examinations, they're asking for accurate numbers. So if they're taking round figures of the numbers, it might affect you. Okay. So always go for the original websites, and this is Press Information Bureau. Whenever there is something important, so the definitions of it, what is the minutest, what is the basic definition of it, where is it being applied, such things are given in Press Information Bureau. Okay. Yes. So this is about the references. Now we'll go back to that question, ma'am. You said, so this is the references for Environment and disaster management. Environment, class 12 biology, NCRT, that itself, that only book will be sufficient. The last 4 chapters, chapter 13 to chapter 16. But word to word, example to example, it is important. Even the examples are important. 4 chapters. For disaster management, you have class 11 disaster management textbook. It is a supplementary textbook for geography. You can search it online and you will get it. For science and technology, this is for environment. I'm talking about environment here. For environment, only these 4 chapters will be sufficient. Okay. Then for the latest developments that are happening, if there is any new policy that is in place or a program that is in place, then you'll have to search for that in Ministry website or in Press Information Bureau. Yes. United Nations websites and reports, especially for pollution, for the chapter pollution and health. So what are the sites? You have your United States Environmental Protection Agency and World Health Organization, which are important. Along with this, the WWF, the World Wildlife Fund for Nature, it has all the data about the species that are in use. So you will, in one place, you will get what is the IUCN status, what is the site status, in which appendix it is there in sites, and in which schedule of the Wildlife Protection Act it is there, what are the threats to it, what is the habitat, everything in one place you will get in that website for any species. Just type the species name and type WWF and press enter, you will get the information. Yes. And along with that, National Disaster Management Authority website and reports. If it is publishing some reports that has happened regarding any of the newly occurred disasters like the cloudburst or like say the landslides of Wayanad last year or Uttarakhand, if there is any specific report that is being mentioned, you will look at it. Then daily newspaper, as I said, newspaper is very, very important for both the subjects, that is science and technology as well as environment and disaster management. Now, if you see, I have already said that the marks that we recently got, if you see, everything is above 100. These are the highest marks that are scored in any paper. In each paper, the highest marks that are scored. So if you see in paper 1, English you leave, paper 1, it is general essay. Paper 2, 3, 4 and paper 5 you have SNT and aptitude. Yes. Every student will concentrate here. What are these subjects? Geography, history, polity, economy. In economy, we also have environment. Yes, everyone will concentrate on here. And if you see, everyone's marks here are nearly the same. But people who crossed the 70s are in rank list here. That and general essay as well. So what is the game changer for the exam? Everyone has minimum, maximum, the same kind of knowledge, because even the material outside is available for all the subjects. For here, what is the material? Tell me one textbook where you can find GM crops, GM mustard, where you can find the recent developments that are happening. There is no textbook per se which talks of the science and technology. It should come through your daily newspaper. Yes. So the game changer paper, as I said, is that. Now for mains, syllabus of environment is this. You can see that it does not contain, I just put the slide so that you understand that it does not contain disaster management. There is no disaster management in mains. But there is something called as climate change and its impact on sustainable development. So due to climate change, there are some climatic disasters that are occurring very frequently. So there can be questions on such climatic disasters. What are climatic disasters? Like tropical cyclones, like cloudbursts, and due to cloudbursts, we have landslides. Yes, so such kind of questions can be framed relating to climate change. Yes. Now, just now I was telling that why is ma'am talking about that everything is important? She said this is important, that is important, everything is important. How do I get to know? The only best thing that you can do is go through the PYQs. And for TGPSC, for one notification, we have 3 papers. We will see one by one from 2022 till 2024, how did the paper evolve in itself for science and technology in particular. If you see, as I said, general science question, on a cold day during early breakfast of bread with ketchup, one would have noticed that the ketchup barely moves out of the bottle. A little warming of the ketchup would solve the problem. Yes? Which of the above statement makes sense in the above context? That means, if you're having breakfast with ketchup, if the ketchup on a winter day or in a cold day, if it is frozen, what will you do? You will heat it so that it comes out of the container. Yes? What is the science behind it? That is what is asked. What is it? Liquids become less viscous during high temperature. Yes or no? The viscosity reduces when you heat it? Yes, that is true. Kinetic energy of the molecules increases with the temperature? Yes. Then liquid resistance to flow increases with increasing temperature. Does the resistor, if the resistance is increased, how will it be less viscous and how will it come out of the bottle? So if you're saying the first statement is true, then automatically this third statement will become wrong. And kinetic energy counteracts the intermolecular forces. Kinetic energy will disturb the intermolecular forces. That means it counteracts on the intermolecular forces when it is heated. Yes. So only option C is wrong. So such kind of questions are asked in 2022. You can see the correct order of velocity of sound in this water, iron, vapor and air is. The basic thing that you need to know is how sound travels in different mediums. How does it, whether it is higher in solids or in liquids or in gases. We all know it is higher in solids. So iron, then liquids, then water vapor, vapor because it contains moisture, and then dry air. Yes, this is just if you know that it is more in solids, then in liquids, and then in the gaseous form, you can answer this question. There's nothing as important as application or strategy that is being asked. We all wear specs. We have read about the eye and the lens in our schooling. We have read about reflection of light, refraction of lights, and types of lenses that are used. And we have this option. Now, if you remember your lessons from your schooling, that will solve this exam. Myopia, hypometropia, presbyopia, and astigmatism. Yes. Now I know, or anybody who have done their schooling well, they know what is astigmatism. That you cannot at a time see vertical and horizontal things. Yes. So what kind of lens is used there? cylindrical lens. So if I'm only matching that, D is 3. Can I arrive at some answer? I need not even pause and think whether I'm doing it right or wrong. What is being expected of you is at least know two things. Remember, try to recollect at least two things. You will be able to solve the question. If you're lucky enough, you can solve it by just knowing one. Yes? Then we have various bases and their usage. Out of all this, even if you know what is the chemical formula for bleaching powder, you will be able to solve this. Yes, bleaching powder. So to make this, you will at least need calcium hydroxide. So if you're matching this, you will be able to get the answer. This is very simple. We all know how soap making is done. So we all know sodium hydroxide is required for soap preparation. And here, insulin and diabetes, easy match. Now hemophilia, by the word itself, you know it is something related to blood. Here we have blood factor 8. Blood factor 8, as we know, is a clotting factor. So without any discussion, we can match this. Don't you think that when you can solve 2 out of 4 in matching, you will easily get the answer? This is the general science, how they've asked in 2022. There is... Now this was in current affairs. This is again asked in 2022. They asked about happy hypoxia. This is again very much in use during COVID time. We were all checking our SpO2 levels, where you're not realizing that your oxygen levels are dropping down. That is nothing but happy hypoxia. So the answer is 2. Right? So current affairs based questions are asked like that. In 2023, if you see, the pattern of asking questions has changed. The general science questions are not as general as in 2022. It talks about airbags in car. Now here, if you have been reading about the science articles in the science category of the Hindu, you will be able to answer this. Whenever there is an accident, also in the accident kind of news, if the airbags are not functioned properly, they will write about the chemicals there in those articles as well. So let me tell you that sodium azide is the chemical that is used to inflate or explode the balloons in case of accidents. But the catch here is potassium nitrate is also used in airbags, but it does not help them to inflate. This is used for some other purpose. So here the options are neither easy, neither the question is very general. So do you understand that in your daily activities, now the general science is not about physics, biology and chemistry like in the first paper. Yes. Did you get my point? Now, unlike the hemophilia and insulin, here you can see they are asking about vitamin deficiency and the vitamin that is there, but in their chemical name. Vitamin C is nothing but ascorbic acid. So deficiency of it is scurvy. Calciferol is used, calcium based supplement. Calcium based supplement is for bones. So vitamin D deficiency, rickets is something related to bones. Goiter we know is something related to deficiency of iodine. We can get the answer there. But for that, you need to know that vitamin C is called as ascorbic acid. For that, you need to at least derive that calcium is a supplement for bone health. Yes. So this is not as general as the previous year's paper. And you can see that the number of questions on space also increased, and on nuclear technology also increased. You might have read about Gaganyaan again and again in news, but when you see this question, ISRO plans 7-day space tour with 3 Gaganauts in 2023 for science and technology advancement. Is it true? If it is true, why? If it is not correct, then why is it not correct? Online students. Yes. Ma'am, during classroom coaching, do we have to refer to all the sources you mentioned, or will you give us the related current affairs from the sources? Yes, I'll tell you by the end of the class, Monica, what we will offer in our classes. We'll come there. Yes. So here it is a 3-day program. So he wants you to know the number of days. That means exact numbers. Vyomitra is a robot that is used for assisting in the Gaganyaan program. So this is correct. The same way, generally you use sunscreen lotion, you use a HD TV. So what are the corresponding nanomaterials that are being used? That you should be knowing. Yes, titanium oxide. Nanosilver is used in textiles for zeri that shines. Easy. Then optoelectronics is used. Lithium oxide is used for HD TVs. Right? Are we clear? Now we come to 2024. How the questions are asked here. They are much more, what do we call, intricate. They have asked only mostly into the technology part and the applications part instead of general science. Even if it's a general science question, we will see how it is dealt. So it uses a 3-stage solid fuel engine. It is capable of striking targets at ranges of 2000 kilometers only. It is indigenously developed by DRDO. It uses multiple dependable targetable re-entry vehicle technology, MDR. We all know Agnify is having 3-stage fuel that is solid. So first statement is right. We might be remembering that it is a surface to surface missile. So what is the range? It is 5000 to 5500 kilometers. So you will have to remember that for the examination, because they're trying to confuse you on numbers. It is indigenously developed by DRDO. True. That means they're expecting you to know from where it is made. It uses multiple dependable targetable re-entry vehicle. There is nothing technology called as dependable targetable re-entry vehicle. It is independent targetable re-entry vehicle. That means at once you can target different warheads or war vehicles. Yes. So that is the technology that is used. So you will have to remember the technology as well. Now Aditya L1, we all know. Here the catch, again I put this because the statement, yes. Any question? Here it is 1.5 million kilometers and they have given here as 15 million kilometers. And that is how the statement is wrong. So very minute details has been asked in 2024. They've asked for payloads and what the payloads are doing. The name of the payload and what is the payload. What is the function of the payload in Chandrayaan 2. For AI, they have asked a central program that is launched. So you will have to remember the names. Now, in general science, you can see the biology questions have transformed to this. they asked which of the following hormone is insect specific and not exclusively a plant hormone. Even if you're a biology student, you will know the gibberellins, auxins, cytokinins, and if you're very much into the subject, you will know that juvenile is also a plant hormone. So all the four of them are plant hormones. Now out of this, which of them is present in an insect during the formation of larvae stage? Many of the students do not know the answer. They thought juvenile is something that is related to the cases that we see. It is not a hormone. It is something like picking the odd one out of the hormones. It doesn't sound like a hormone, and they are accidentally right. Okay. So for that, you have to have the understanding of NCERTs. Now, why till class 12 biology, ma'am? That was the question. Because such kind of questions are being asked. Okay. COVID-19 vaccine, we all know. Covaxin is developed by Bharat Biotech. Along with Bharat Biotech, what is the other organization that is there? It is ICMR, along with the National Institute of Virology. That you will have to know. That means what are the institutes? Even we have seen that during Agni 5 that it is indigenously developed by DRDO. That means the manufacturing units, if they are indigenously developed, you will know which institute or which organization is developing it. If there are multiple organizations, you will remember all the multiple organizations. That is important. Right? Now this is about environment part. There are many questions on disaster management, as we can see. These are all disasters. And they also asked about the disaster that happened very long ago, because as you can see, Smriti 1 Memorial for Earthquake Victims was inaugurated by Prime Minister in August 2022. Because he inaugurated it in 2022, something that happened in 2002 became very important. So this is a current affairs based question. This is the current affairs. This is something very, very long ago event that has happened, and there might be a question because it is there in current affairs. Yes. So here we can see, and here are some few main questions that are there on environment. You can see here exactly they have taken from, why I've posted this is critically assess the challenges in aligning economic development with environmental sustainability in India at the present era. If you go back and see in the syllabus, the first statement there, it is written as environment versus development. That means environment is against the development. And the first question is to critically analyze how is it different. So if you're reading the syllabus correctly, you will be able to understand how the questions are framed even in mains. Yes? So this is the approach. Now why? We'll talk about a small topic, the story of dodo. This is a topic from environment. This bird dodo is extinct from 17th century. It was endemic to Mauritius. Now what happened to this bird? It is very interesting. This bird actually looks like a pigeon. It used to travel from the America towards the east for various purposes. Okay. So due to geological activity, suddenly there is a new island that popped up in the Indian Ocean waters, that is Mauritius. This bird started to settle down in that particular area. Now once it came into a new land, there are no predators there for the bird. It is a newly formed island. So there are no predators. So it need not fly. It need not escape. It need not hunt. Every fruit is falling on the ground, it will eat. So what happened? It suddenly started to gain weight. It is unprepared because there are no predators. adaptations happen. That is how naturally we adapt. When there is no use of running from the predators, why would I even run? Right? That is what we do. Then slowly the wings also, which were very huge, like the pigeons and the doves, they became very, very small because there is no point of flying. Yes. Now what happened during the colonial times, once they started to navigate and they are in search for India, all the Portugal and other marine people, while they're traveling, they discovered Mauritius. And this is one bird which could not fly and it is easily available. So along with the ships, there came rats, there came monkeys, there came pets, pigs. So these monkeys and pigs, they are not harming the bird, but they are playing with the eggs that are produced by this bird. So the eggs are damaged. So there is no offspring for the bird. Now that population which is alive is hunted for food by the people that are there, that are coming into the island. So it became extinct. Right? Now again it is in use this year for various reasons. One, you can see that after 343 years, the Kashmir artisans gave wings to the dodo in papier mash. Papier mash is nothing but an art form in Kashmir where they make wooden toys. Okay, this is a wooden bird. So for Christmas, there is a order from the Western world to make the bird for gifting purpose. And you can see that this blue thing is the wings that they've given. So they've given bigger wings to dodo. So that is why it is in use. Now this art form might become important for your exam, or dodo might become important for your exam. Yes. So this is how you will interlink your current affairs with the topic. Now, what are we doing here as an organization or a coaching center? Yes, that is the question, Monica. So what do we do? One thing, every student has to go through the same kind of technique or strategy to crack the exam. This is a proven fact because of the results that we can show you, that at least 145 people that we could track off have ranks from CivicCentre. And we followed the same method to make the question papers for you. And it reflected in the examination and people scored very well. Yes. So this is a proven strategy for TGPSC. Now every student has to follow the same. When can be the prelims and mains? I will answer that in a few minutes. First, let me finish. As a coaching center, what are we here to do? So if you are interested in self-preparation, it is okay. We encourage you to prepare on your own. But if you're coming here, we will act as propellers. Like, we will be reading the current affairs for you. We will link it to the static portion. While explaining the concept itself in classes, we will tell you what are the recent developments that are there throughout the year. And we will tell you what are the recent developments as well as what are its applications in your day-to-day life. Because we have, see, whenever we say read, go through the PYQs, a student will sit down, read the syllabus first, see the PYQs, start reading the books from first page to the last page to the first page, again and again. But what we do, we refer to PYQs every single time, for every single class. For every single question that we prepare in our test series, we always go back and see what are the previous year questions that are asked. So we have immensely understood how the paper is set, what kinds of themes are being asked, how well you need to relate, how much, in what depth you need to study. You can do it on your own, but if there is a time constraint, you can take the help of us. So if you are going to be officers tomorrow, you are going to be policymakers, you should know what work can be delegated. That is the smart work. That is the smart strategy that you can opt for. Right? So if you want to make your preparation smarter, delegate that work to a coaching center. And especially, we are best. We can tell you because we have the ranks to show you that we can do this better than anybody else. Yes, so if you delegate the work to us in classes, we will be doing all that for you. You can just concentrate on revising them again and again, and that will help you. Am I clear? Yes. Monica, I think that your question is answered. And then we have, when will be the prelims and mains? Now that we have a new case that is put on for the markings. Yes. We need, it might take some time, but at least in this month, we were expecting the notification to come by the end of the month, but because of the new case, there might be a little delay. So the notification might come by the next month or by end of the next month. Okay, that is the expectation. And like the dodo bird, if you're not prepared, you will be extinct from the exam preparation. Do not relax, because once the notification is out, it will not, 3 months of time will not be sufficient for you to crack the exam. Believe me, trust me, it is not sufficient. You will be either doing classes, yes, or you will either be preparing only or writing the test series and reading only the papers. You will never have sufficient time to crack the exam. So always be prepared for when you know the notification is about to come. Okay, so plan strategically, use your resources that are there. And if you need some help, CivicCentre is always here to support your journey in the groups examination. Okay, any other doubts, online students? We'll take your doubts first. Thank you, Monica. If there are no doubts, then we will close. Do we have orientation sessions for other subjects as well? Dinesh, let me tell you, we already have finished 2 orientation sessions. I think one in general and one specific to, I am not aware. But for this, all subjects, I'm Telugu medium, how to crack. Okay, Telugu medium students, again, let me be very honest with you. Essay session. You want an essay session? Okay. That again, we will intimate you through Telegram when we will have a essay session. Okay. Then Telugu medium, how to crack? Honestly, Telugu medium people, I have to tell you that the classes, the medium of explanation here in classes is English. Okay. Now, Telugu medium students, the material for science and technology, if you're talking about this particular subject, the material itself is not completely available. So you will have to rely on some or the other external sources only. Like if CivicCentre textbook is there both in Telugu and English, you can pick up the Telugu version of the textbook and read. For current affairs, you will have to follow the newspaper. Newspaper is the game changer for Telugu medium students. You will have to pick up the examples and collect them. Okay, but if you're coming to the coaching center, if there is any problem in understanding, you can stop and ask, we will explain it to you in Telugu again. But first we will explain it in English. If you're unable to understand whatever we are speaking, then we'll come back to Telugu. Yes, that is the mode of teaching here. Exam, thank you. Any other doubts, students? For English medium, which newspaper is good? I'm only following the Hindu. And for science and technology, which newspaper is good? Hindu is sufficient, Dinesh. Ma'am, when will the batch start? Batch will be starting by first week of May. By 1st of May, I think. 1st May, the batch will start, Monica. And Dinesh, Hindu is very good. Every day, the science section of Hindu must be covered. Okay? Only the Hindu will be sufficient for science and technology. Any other questions? Sir, me given questions. I started my preparation since 1 month in English medium. Okay. Because we have seen that Telugu medium students, there are many issues in paper correction as well. Well, I have corrected in English medium, but I have to translate in Telugu. So rather than doing that, it is better to cram it in English. There are many resources for English. Yes, that is true. That is a fact. For English medium students, the resources are very high. Not just for TGPSC, even for APPSC Group-1 students, there is no sufficient material in Telugu medium. So that is a major drawback. Okay, okay, online students. If there are no questions, we are ending the session. Thank you very much. Is there something that I missed? Ma'am. Yes, ma'am, for science and technology, nuclear technology and few other topics are not good content. For science and technology, nuclear technology and few other topics are not good content. Which textbooks are good? Textbooks, let me tell you, no textbook will give you the current affairs. If you want to just look at the concepts, then go with Telugu Academy only. That is only better. Okay? For nuclear technology specifically, again, nuclear technology, if you see even in the Telugu Academy, you will have lots of data, tables and charts of data, which is not required. You can go with the particle physics of the physics textbook of class 12. That will be sufficient for you to understand what is happening in the news every day. Or if you are joining the classes, then we will do the work for you. We will explain you the basic concepts and the current affairs here. Okay? Yes, Dinesh, thank you. Thank you very much.